Okay, we are live, so that's good. Okay, hello, everyone. Just getting set up here. I just want to make sure that I get all of these things covered because we're gonna be casting a couple of games and then doing the best of 5 as is the plan. I just want to make sure that. Okay, there's my display capture. So it should be catching that display. There we are. Okay, so that's good. And move that on over there. Okay, then we can pull up AI Arena. Why it's showing my bookmarks again, I don't know. Chrome has some weird bugs when it comes to showing bookmarks. See, show bookmarks bar enabled. Show bookmarks bar. Let's see if I can open a new one and if that'll fix it. This has been a bug for quite a while in Chrome, where you have to like restart it in order to get it to hide bookmarks. And sometimes it just won't. Ah, Chrome, why do you do this? Okay, now it hides them. It's very sporadic and random. Anyway. I digress. Okay, we can do this. Move this over here. I have requested the matches for Eris versus Negativezero. And then we're going, so that's these 5 here. I'll tell you guys all when to look away when I'm actually grabbing the matches so they're not spoiled. But the plan here is we're going to cruise a few matches from the ladder, and then we are going to go ahead and cast Eris versus Negativezero, because that will be cool. Let's see if Veteran actually has had an update or not. I doubt it. No. It's just back on the ladder, hasn't been updated. So we'll find, maybe we'll start off with a really game. That seems like a good way to go. Okay, we're gonna do the hand hide thing, so if you guys don't want it to be spoiled as far as what match. Ooh, Dominion Dog. How does it go that long? We haven't cast a Dominion Dog replay since Dominion Dog's been back, so let's do that. You guys can't see the hand that I used to block the results of the matches, so you just have to close your eyes when it's time to pick a match. Gotta make sure we have the music on as well. It seems mighty quiet. There's the music, there's the sound. And here we are. So we have got our game. It's game number 1 of our matches today. It is going to be Dominion Dog. Back after a long time. It has received an update, so hopefully its mining issues are fixed. And then taking on Really, which is a very dirty bot. However, Dominion Dog has shown us in the past that it is quite good when it comes to defending cheeses. For example, in my mind, its Marauder defense is quite good from what I recall. And yeah, hello everyone who's tuning into this live stream. If you guys haven't already, click that like button. Videos, live streams, just give it a click. It doesn't matter. And yeah, just howdy. Hope everyone's having a nice Saturday. I know the bot community is, I think, largely European. So That's it's usually later at night for you guys. We've got that probe for really across the map. It has yet to build the Nexus. There we go. The Nexus gets down. So I think sorry guys, it's a live stream. We can actually rewind a little bit. I think Dominion Dog may have actually delayed the Nexus a little bit. So it's got the 400 minerals. It's pathing around. It looks like the probe's trying to get free, it seems. Unless there's a timing thing here. But really was up to 500 minerals. The Zealots are on the way. So we'll keep eyes on like how many Zealots there are before the Nexus gets up. Dominion Dog will now have to contend with this, which is going to be a little tricky. It doesn't really have much going for it. Yeah, it expands anyway. So we see the power of the proxy Nexus build here in that Dominion Dog was able to, well, didn't respond. That's basically it. This is the power of this build because bots are not programmed to recognize Nexus as threats, believe it or not. Now, really, it's got 2 Zealots on the way, but we'll see. It's going to have like 4, 6 Zealots by the time this Nexus is done. Yeah, it'll be about 6. And then Dominion Dog, we'll see whether it can defend this by some miracle. It's got 1 Reaper out. It's not building the second. It's starting up a 3rd command center. Oh gosh, it's 3rd command centering against this. That is not good. Yeah, so Dominion Dog's base is about to be absolutely flooded with Zealots. And by flooded, I mean just movie-style jump-on-in attack with the recall. Cinematic StarCraft Zealot Rush. So the SCVs are pulled against the probes, which is good, but the problem is there's a bunch of Zealots here. Dominion Dog is building a 2nd Reaper, and it's got this Reaper as well. It's very notable that, guys, that really has nothing mining on its side of the map. So, like, it doesn't have just an easy transition out of this. There is another Brax building for Dominion Dog, and there's also a little bit of mule money being brought in. But here's the Reaper for Dominion Dog. 2nd Reaper is out. They can potentially micro against this, but oh, they're kind of getting trapped. It does slip out of that corner. That's very important, and gets out of there. A Zealot's being shot. And yeah, it's important to keep in mind that there's 180 minerals here for really, but there's nothing else after that. So there is a world in which these 2 Reapers can potentially win this game. As this one's being chased, it's like a horror movie as the Reaper tries to escape from the probes. It's running through the burning city, and there's just monsters everywhere. But oh, that's 1 dead Reaper. Meanwhile, this guy's pulling overtime, working on this. The command center is burning down, so that's not good. Dominion Dog has 2 SCVs that are running around. Oh no, you guys, you should have stayed at the safe base, the safe space base. But instead, they're going back home. And Dominion Dog has 1 Reaper. It is building a 2nd Reaper. There's a 3rd SCV for Dominion Dog, but is trying to make it into the main base. And with this SCV dead, all hope to rebuild will be gone for Dominion Dog. It tried to respond to the Zealots, but now we've got 1 Reaper that has to try and win this game. And guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but I clicked on this replay because it was 30 minutes long and I wanted to see what happens. Dominion Dog has lifted a few buildings, so it's quite literally all on the Reaper. There's no mining back at home yet for really, as the probes, they just get injured and then they run away. So nothing is going to die here, it seems. Oh, this Reaper might get a probe? No. Oh, does it get surrounded? Yeah, it gets surrounded and killed. Okay, so that's the last of the units. This game is a total farce as it goes on for 30 minutes. And presumably really rebuilds at some point. It just takes a very, very long time in order to get that win. So we don't need to watch the rest of this. We'll pick on a different Dominion Dog replay because it's been so long since we cast it. Yeah, really just takes its sweet time, I guess, getting up to air units, builds a fleet beacon, yada, yada, yada. Really wins. Okay. if like the Reaper was microing for 30 minutes, I'd have watched that whole thing, but we're not going to wait 30 minutes for some buildings. Okay, so we'll turn that back on. Go ahead and pick out another game. Dominion Dog, it is on the ladder. It's not in the top 10 anymore. Hello to everyone who's tuning in, by the way. If you enjoy Weekend Live Bots, click that like button. Yeah, Dominion Dog at number 19. That's not very good, but it goes to show that these bots do keep getting updated. It is also fairly new back on the ladder, but its win rate isn't looking that good. So maybe it does have some bugs or quirks. Avert your eyes if you don't want it to be spoiled, which replay I'm picking. Gonna choose the hand, use the hand. Yeah, let's do Dominion Dog versus Veteran. That's 2 older bots, so it should be a good game. I know the IT professionals are crying as I type my obscured password in on, but I'll remember not to do that next time. Okay, so we've got Veteran saying it's Tournament Edition and it's going for Proxy Reapers, which is interesting. I'm not sure if Veteran opens with this build every single game or not. Here, I'm trying to make it better for you guys when I tab out, so come on, capture the game. There we go. Maybe I'll do the smaller window thing, because I'm constantly bouncing between like the chat, which replays I'm gonna cast, that kind of thing. 14 people watching some live bots. We got 6 likes. Can we make it 14 for 14? That would be pretty crazy. Hello, yes, exit. Hello, Jeff, the USCH 3071. So Veteran going for its Proxy Reaper build. Notably, a very old bot. However, it does seem to center these racks every single game on a base, which is interesting. So whatever logic is there works just fine. For those of you just tuning in, by the way, we are going to do a Negativezero versus Eris best of 5 for the fun of it. And then, so yeah, stay tuned for that. I think it's kind of a fun one to start off with. Negativezero is the favorite, but Eris does definitely win some of the games, and they're both bots that are updated fairly recently. Well, fairly frequently, I should say. So we don't know exactly how the match is going to go. Hello, Tom. Perhaps we'll cast a couple Tom test games. It's been a while since I cast GPT. We do have these Reapers on the way for Veteran. Notably, they're rallied back home before they get a command to go on in, which is just an interesting little thing to take note of. But here we go, Reaper versus Reaper. Dominion Dog gets the first shot off, finds this rack, says Proxy Barracks, Terran, early defend Marauders. And so Dominion Dog is going to be panicking a little bit. No bunker started yet, which is usually what you want to do in response to this. However, the Reaper of Veteran had to go all the way home. We've got this one Marine move commanding. That's a party foul across the map. And yeah, this is not looking too good here for Dominion Dog, as Veteran is getting the head start. We do have another Marine out. It tries shooting one of these Reapers. Oh, does it act? Okay, Veteran not quite capitalizing on the Reaper versus Reaper dynamic there, as it could have potentially killed the one of Dominion Dog and just overwhelmed. Its Reapers are programmed to prioritize defense. So this is actually very good for Dominion Dog. It actually grabs one of the Reapers there. We have another Marine on the way. The question is, once this factory is done, what will be built? Will it be a Cyclone or a tank? It's a Cyclone on the way, and those things are pretty darn good. For those of you that just installed StarCraft 2 for the first time, Marines popping out, getting absolutely gutted. SCVs are going to be dying to these 2 Reapers. Current loss is 3 dead SCVs, 4 dead Marines, and a Reaper. Veteran is getting some damage done. The 3 Reapers are just shooting at these SCVs. They're trying to hide in the refineries, but that's only going to work so long. The natural base did complete, so that's a big deal. But can this one Cyclone save the day? In a human game, probably not. In a bot game, probably, because bots micro these Cyclones well, and they do not know when to dive as well. So this Cyclone will be able to handle these Marines one-on-one. It is ignoring the Reapers, so they are able to get some more damage done as Dominion Dog falls down to 14 workers. The Cyclone is really doing what it can as, oh, Dominion Dog, it's distracted by the barracks, and so the Reapers totally being ignored. The Rax does eventually get lifted off. The Cyclone locks onto it. It's interesting that it didn't lock onto it while it was on the ground. It just locks onto it while it's in the air, which may be a legacy from the old Cyclones, back when they could only lock onto air, right? No, they could lock onto ground. It just did, like, no damage. Okay, so Dominion Dog gets out another Reaper. It will indeed defend this rush. However, Veteran isn't some chump. It's a bot that knows how to macro behind its cheese, as it's got an armory on the way already, a Raven, a Hellion. It's got its natural base already mining away. And then Dominion Dog is going to try and come back with a quick third command center once more. So really this is anyone's game. The tank siege is up on the high ground for Veteran. That's quite a nice spot. However, it unsieges, which very well could be its undoing. It does at least take one Cyclone with it. That's not a bad trade for Veteran. If it had stayed sieged, it would have done better. But again, tank micro is something very difficult to program. If you guys ever want to play a drinking game while watching my casts, just say it's very difficult to program and take a shot. Yeah, I mean, that's really just because that's all the inference I can give to it. It's not like I've ever programmed tank micro. Just there's a lot of dynamics to it. Okay. We have got a Viking on the way for Veteran, multiple racks going, so it's transitioning. No third base from the Blue Terran, so Dominion Dog may be able to catch up economically, as it sometimes does. It seems in quite a few of Dominion Dog's games, it falls behind, but then it's able to come back with just being pretty greedy as far as bots go, which, again, is a strength. Hello to everyone who's watching. I hope you've got some nice coffee or beverage of your choice. Click that like button if you guys haven't already. I genuinely have no idea how likes affect the YouTube algorithm. YouTube seems a little bizarre in regards to like live streams. Like sometimes on your sidebar there'll be a live stream with like 1 viewers, and other times there'll be one with like 1,000. It's like, I wonder why you're promoting this. But anyway, we do have lots of starports on the way from Dominion Dog, so it will be playing its famous air style, heavily bottlenecked by gas presently. But it's got 4 refineries, and so it will be able to get a 5th and 6th soon enough. Veteran is building its 3rd base, playing a more traditional ground style, but here we go, guys. We're getting the Veteran Thors, which I don't think is something we've really seen too much against like Dominion Dog's air style. I'm not sure if I've ever cast this because the Thors are very good anti-air units. And so we'll see. They may just be like a trump card against mass Banshees potentially, which is very exciting. 3rd base mining away for Dominion Dog. Veteran getting its own, so it's not too far behind base timing wise. And so the worker count's probably actually going to be a net sum of 0 difference between these bots, because like Veteran, it's gonna be catching, or Dominion Dog's gonna be catching back up. As I say that though, Dominion Dog has paused SCV production at 50. It's actually a little supply blocked. Oh, that's not good. That's definitely a little funny. It's actually supply blocked again immediately. Is it building a new depot? Okay, it starts one, but it's a little later than it should be. We're seeing some very interesting positioning on these depots, but the distance from the bases in the SCV travel time is actually causing some pretty nasty supply blocks. Like Dominion Dog's pausing all production, and I bet we're going to see that again unless it starts building them in the main or something. So where's the new depot, guys? There's gonna be one building somewhere, I bet. Oh, there it is. Okay, this one's in a bit of a better spot. Hello to everyone who's tuning into the live stream. We see Fish Hots. Is that your hot for fish, or is that Fish Heroes of the Storm, aka Murky? We've got Vikings starport on the way. Hyperflight rotors going down for Dominion Dog. Dominion Dog is starting to move out. As far as the air unit count goes, I don't have much doubt that Dominion Dog will be able to win that. Veteran focusing on the ground. Yeah, I guess if you eat fish, you want it to be hot as well. That's a very good point. I mean, unless it's like tuna, but that was once heated. Cooking's weird. It's like we heat this up, comes a lot better, even though it's basically the same thing. So Dominion Dog taking a 4th base, Veteran actually beating it to the 4th base count, which is interesting to see, despite Dominion Dog having the quicker 3rd. Banshee's now moving forward. There is Ravens on deck for Veteran, which will definitely help out with revealing these Cloaked Banshees if they can stay alive. But there's a Cyclone on the ground. There's a Thor on the ground, too. That Thor is a big deal. We also saw a scan from Veteran, which definitely gives us hope, seeing as how that's critical vision that's needed to kill these Banshees. As the battle begins, Banshee's now pursuing a couple Marines across the map. The production and just the sprawl of these bots is already getting hard to keep track of, just with them expanding all over the place. We're getting double armory from Dominion Dog. I'm glad to see that. Its building placement is so interesting. But hey, if it works, it works. Veteran, meanwhile, playing a bit more traditional with an absolute mess of a base, but hey, it's pumping out some Marines, getting out some random Hellions, because why not? But more importantly, the 2 Big Daddy Thors are there to help zone out these Banshees. And they're just so darn good against Banshees. Like, the range is just huge. The air battle is going to go Dominion Dog's way, as it's able to shoot the enemy Banshees out of the sky to zone everything out. The Ravens of Veteran have been doing a phenomenal job, I must say. Look at them staying out of range of the Vikings of Dominion Dog. That is incredibly well done. In an environment where we see bots constantly losing units. Okay, Veteran going to try and counterattack. Both bots are not at crazy supplies, which is impressive, seeing it, or it's notable seeing as how they're both on 70+ worker economies. You think they'd be maxed out by now. And we have the Thors able to just keep popping these units out of the skies. Thors should be in the other mode. These Thors are absolutely in the mode they need to be in right now. The range of the high impact payload mode is just phenomenal. In fact, the splash damage mode is barely a thing in StarCraft 2 these days, since we don't see Mass Mutalisk. Now, let's see here, as these Thors and tanks are pushing forward for Veteran. Dominion Dog is actually in quite a bit of trouble. Just a couple of Thors in the composition totally neuters whatever Dominion Dog was going for. Dominion Dog is adding in its own Thor. That's one way to counter your opponent's Thors. However, it's not just Thors, it's tanks and Thors and Ravens tightly packed together, a few Cyclones on the ground. And yeah, Veteran showing us that it is old but gold, and it's totally just wrecking Dominion Dog here. As, yeah, the Ravens, the Vikings in the sky, I think we've got a victor for this match. As Dominion Dog, yeah, crumbles. It's interesting how this bot was once, like, #1 on the ladder for a little bit, but now it seems to just not be doing as well. I wonder if anything changed internally, or if I'm just picking poor matches. As the Thor disappears from existence, so one Thor cannot beat all these Thors. Tolls Taurus becomes a content fan, making us reach the member goal. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for supporting the channel. Okay, so one more Thor pops out for Dominion Dog. It's going to give it the good old college try. However, the Cyclones, they've got Magfield Accelerator. They will chew through those, and then it's Thor v Thor. And, of course, Thor wins. Yeah, like, Veteran is just such a good bot. It's incredible how well it holds together. It's quite finished, it seems, as far as a project goes. One Cloaked Banshee trying to kill a Thor, trying to save the day, but there's the scan. Veteran, very good scan behavior too. And that is going to be that for this game. We'll fast forward into the next one. Click that like button if you guys haven't already. And yeah, let me know if there's anyone you want to see for the next match, or I'll just go ahead and pick a replay. Not sure, but we've got a lot of good bots to choose from that I haven't cast much of recently. We will cast a Dominion Dog win at some point. Here, let's change the... There we go. That still works. There was a goal, yeah. Been trying to hit that 10 member mark for a while. I don't know why, but it's a round numbers thing. Okay, let's see. As far as bots, who's been getting updated? Oh, you guys can't see this. Okay, hold on. Let's pull that up. Where is that? I definitely used to have. Yeah, I'm really glad Dominion Dog has been updated. I'm just going to turn on a window capture here so you guys can see me pick. There we are. I'll shrink that a little bit. Okay, that'll do for now. And we'll kind of put that down there. There we go. That way you can see that I'm actually just doing things. Changeling is doing a Swarm Host rush on ladder. Perhaps a Changeling game then. Okay. Alright, I'm pulling out the hand if you guys don't want spoilers on which match I'm picking. Oh, there's a Benbot game. Changeling versus Benbot, 22 minutes. I think that's pretty good. Let's do that. Just gonna grab some agua. Make sure to change the scene as well. There we are. Okie dokie. Let's turn off that 2. We have got... I guess I can move myself over a little bit as well. You guys don't need to see the wall. You can see the gas. There you go. Okay, so we have got none other than Benbot BC taking on Changeling, aka Eris, kind of, but we see Benbot saying random Zerg, BOZ B2, whatever build tag that means, but Benbot is adjusting accordingly. Why is the stream title Eris versus Negativezero best of 5? Because we're going to be doing that. Finally, chat on the full screen. Do you guys want that? Do you guys want, like, chat to appear above my camera during the casts? I can probably do that pretty quick. Or not. Let me know. Here, we'll just shrink it a little bit. There we go. Okay, chat should be on the screen now too. All right, so apologies for not focusing on the game there. That's one of the things when you live stream so infrequently. It's like, is the setup fine today? Who knows? One Marine working away on a slow Overlord. This is something that Eris does fairly often, is give up its Overlord, but will it make it? Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. You can do it, Marine. Man with gun. Shooting down a balloon. Someone asked where I was from. Am I crazy, or is Benbot's speed mining kind of buggy? I'm giving it a look. Nothing seems off. Nothing seems off for Benbot's mining other than it's not mining. Yeah, there's only one SCV there. So it's just not fully saturated on that right side. This guy goes here. Where's he going? Okay, he's bouncing around. Goes there. Yeah, so... And then it tries to mine from this far patch. So, okay, it actually is a little buggy. Good eye, Tom. Yeah. You are 100% correct. It still has not... How many SCVs are in here? It's got the full saturation, except it just pulled 2 of them off. Yeah, so definitely some sub-optimization there from Benbot. Meanwhile, in this game, Changeling, the Zerg bot, maybe doesn't get talked about as much as it should, and that's just because it's incredibly good and incredibly solid. We have got 5 drones on the way out for Changeling. A bunker going up for Benbot as it just hodls. No proxy bunker. That's the main takeaway from Benbot versus Random. So it doesn't get that early hatchery that sometimes it does against Eris. Yeah, that mining problem for Benbot. I imagine that's probably... That's got to be something that's a little tedious to fix, but most likely worth it, because little things in StarCraft 2 add up. It's still short 1 SCV, so we'll keep eyes on when it gets 16 on there again. I wouldn't be surprised if the author doesn't even know about... Yeah, because look at that. That SCV just bounces around and goes to the other patch. This guy... So yeah, so... Little inefficiencies here from Benbot. But now it's fine. Now it's got 1 on every patch where it needs to be. It's just the pulling the SCVs off the line. Another one just pops out there, goes and builds a depot. I have criticized Benbot a little bit in the past for how it moves its workers too. Like bouncing between bases. There's definitely a bit of redundancy, I think. So that may be something that would be worth looking at. Benbot's just turtling hard this game, though. 2-base turtle against a Zerg that's now taking its 4th base, which is a little scary. Hey, look at that. We got 19 viewers and 19 likes. You guys are the best, but for now, things are looking a little dicey in this game for Benbot. As we're looking at a 4-base Zerg, 67 drones, roaches, lings on the way. We're about to have to see some incredibly hard turtle defense from Benbot if it wants to win this game. The 2 BCs could definitely help it out. This is actually a little different, right? Benbot, it's usually 1 BC out. Now it's going to have 2 fairly quickly after the other. Hellions killing some changelings, scouting around. We hear the tag, jump enemy base. Where's it go? Man, I can't get over how cool the red battlecruiser outline looks against like the lightning and thunder of Ultralove. Battlecruiser comes on in, starts killing some drones. Eris notably not burrowing these drones either. Changeling, pardon me, not burrowing these drones. 1 queen does perish as the battlecruiser goes to work. There's Hydras trying to respond. The BC is actually targeting down some drones. There we go. Some of them do burrow to stay alive there, so it was just a little bit of a delayed burrow reaction. Benbot's got some Hellions scooting around as well. A little squad of 3 of them. Usually for Benbot, it's just 1 Hellion, so this is neat to see. I mean, these Hellions are going to be in a lot of trouble. They do have blue flame, though, so this seems like just very TVZ focused, which is weird for... Which, it's weird for me to say, like, hey, Benbot's playing TVZ, but no, this looks like a TVZ. Not so much a Benbot game, as the Terran just keeps yeeting in these battle cruisers. We do have a Spire on the way for the Zerg, Spore Crawlers being built, and lots more drones being pumped out for Changeling. It's getting up a 5th base, but the Zerg isn't actually engaging to save this base, which is a little odd. Some bots do not attempt to defend bases until they're actually up. So we'll see. If this hatchery finishes, Eris's army, Changeling's army, may just immediately relocate to defend this base, which would definitely be interesting. At the same time, though, battle cruisers are moving back on in. A few drones do die, not burrowing again. This 5th base, see, we see the programming there as immediately as soon as the hatchery finishes, Eris goes to defend that location. The Spore Crawler was killed, I'm guessing by Yamato cannon. As, yeah, the battle cruisers for Benbot are getting some really good efficiency here. Another one comes on in. It's just a revolving door of BCs. However, that's going to be ending soon, seeing as how we've got Corruptors out. This battle cruiser has Yamato cannon off cooldown, going to kill a queen. Hydras are getting taken down. Corruptors being produced, though, should end this reign of terror. Benbot's moving out with some Marines, trying to clear creep, but as far as the actual ground army goes, Eris still has the lead on that. This base isn't even a planetary, which is very concerning for a bot that really relies on them for defense, so Benbot needs to get that going, and it is going. The few Marines holding down the fort for now. 4th base getting established for Benbot. These battle cruisers have not got an insignificant amount of damage done. This BC is actually staying quite a while, but does teleport on out, as Eris tries to, Changeling tries to commit on in with the Lings. And yeah, Benbot holds the 3rd base. It's still not in a great economic position, seeing as how Changeling is on 92 workers, and it is building a lot of Corruptors. There's 9 more on the way. So it only built 3, but now it's firing up 9 more. That should be enough to shoo these BCs away, and then Benbot will probably want to abandon ship. Yamato cannon hits 1 Corruptor. It's exactly what you want to do as Terran. Just Yamato the Corruptors, just every time your Yamato's off cooldown, and then get that BC to safety. We'll see. This one is off cooldown, though, and it will escape. And it's not like Benbot's just teleporting those out at, like, 400 HP. It's actually teleporting them out at, like, 200. So I'm not sure if some work was done there or not, because we have seen Benbot just pull those out very early in the past, but not so much this game. Eris pumping out even more drones. I guess it lost a fair few, or it's building lots of structures too. Yeah, like the drone count goes down when it builds spores and extractors, but then it replaces them. We're at 150 supply, 150 supply right now. We've got 4 overlords being built for Changeling, but all in all, supply-wise, things aren't looking that good for the Zerg. Resources lost. Eris Changeling has lost 40 drones, 10 queens. These BCs of Benbot have been doing some phenomenal work. The Terran's now getting up a 4th base, and this might have been enough to actually delay the Zerg, like, so that Benbot can reach that late game stage. We're now getting Widow Mines repositioning. We'll have to keep eyes on those, as while the mines are very useful, they can become dead supply later on if they just sit there all game. Now, Infestors are on the way for Changeling, so that can definitely help out against the BCs, although Benbot, we have seen, has got much better at protecting its battle cruisers against Infestors in recent times. Recent-ish times. Hive on the way for the Zerg. A whopping 91 drones, but Benbot's mining happily on 4 bases with 86 SCVs, which is actually an incredible amount of SCVs for 4 bases, as it's oversaturated in that natural. The main base mining out as well. Benbot definitely needs a 5th. Do we have that yet? No, it hasn't even started, which is a little bizarre. Benbot has got the money to build a 5th base, but it has yet to do that. And so we'll have to keep eyes on that. For some reason, no 5th base from Benbot. Come on, man. You got enough money to build 5 command centers. But it's not doing that. We've got Eris now coming in, getting aggressive. Neural Parasites going down. Yamato cannons being queued up, but Neural interrupts that, and 2 battle cruisers die. Looks like a 3rd one is probably going to die. That's a very expensive loss for the Terran bot. A couple of those BCs do get out of there to safety. Meanwhile, there is a nice Viking count to help counter these Corruptors, but they were kind of far away. We've got Corruptors chasing after a Raven, actually going to find 2 of the BCs, but they're a little bit deep. We get the iconic Benbot chat spam, turning that off. And the Corruptors are quite overextended here for Changeling. However, they are going to skirt on the outside. Very good pathing to get to safety, and not a bad trade for the Zerg. It got 3 BCs there. I guess it did lose a lot of Hydras. Resources lost is still massively in favor of Benbot, but we're not seeing a new base get started. Benbot's bugging out. There must be something in the water lately. Bot's productions have been not perfect, and yeah, so we'll see if it eventually snaps out of that, but it absolutely cannot win this game off the back of 4 bases. It might be able to survive a long, long time and take some incredible trades against Eris, but it will not win the game. So, yeah, that's just really, really strange. Planetary is being assaulted by Changeling. Benbot doesn't have the SCVs on deck to repair this. It's probably transferring some over there. And it is doing that, I believe, which is important. Knocked down to 61. Roaches and Hydras trying to break this planetary. It's got building armor, though it's pretty tough. A battlecruiser teleports on in to save the day, printing that tag. Jump Fortress. Queen's overextended, taking some fire. We've even got a Hellion hit squad from Benbot. And Benbot's trying to hold at this 3rd base, but yeah, still no 5th in sight. Eris is completely broke, by the way, spending its money as quick as it can get it, breaking itself on Benbot. But yeah, this is just so unfortunate that there's no 5th started. I'm wondering what went wrong in Benbot's programming. I almost kind of wonder if it would be a good thing if Benbot lost a base, because then it might wake up and start to build even more. As we sometimes see with bots, it requires external factors to fix them. At times, we've got some Hellion harassment, battle cruisers moving around. Sickalp saying, coming in massively late. How many matches are we looking at today? At least 3 more, seeing as how we're going to do an Eris versus Negativezero best of 5 at some point today. As that'll be our finale of the stream. But we might do a few more ladder matches. All right, Eris comes in for another attack. Benbot's at 170 supply. It's got a good amount of Vikings to challenge the Corruptors. This could give the battlecruisers free reign to annihilate the Zerg army. The Infestors are part of the problem, though. We get a scan going down. Yamato Cannon kills the Infestor, and we see the battlecruisers free each other, sniping down those Infestors. The Planetary does perish, though, and Benbot, while it takes a pretty decent trade, does lose supply that it cannot really afford to replace at this point. And yeah, it's down to 136 supply, really just 1 full base, and losing a good number of SCVs in the process as Changeling just keeps trading on out. We do get another base building. Very bizarre how it took a base dying for Benbot to do that. But maybe a miracle can happen, as Defender's advantage is very strong. Yamato Cannons going down. I'm just thinking, would you guys prefer Negativezero versus Eris best of 5 or Negativezero versus Changeling best of 5? I know there might be some opinions on that because random is difficult for Protoss, but at the same time, Negativezero is a big, big favorite. Well, a significant favorite. All right, Benbot does have this. It's been poking out with its BCs, getting some decent trades. Both. I mean, I don't know if I can cast for however long those 2 best of 5s would take, but okay, we'll do Eris versus Negativezero as planned. And by planned, I mean as I have been planning on doing for the past hour, and woke up and decided I wanted to cast these 2. Eris does take Benbot's other base location. This location is being delayed by creep. The Raven will clean it up. Very good behavior there. Can Benbot resecure this location? I don't know, but we're going to need to see some miracles if Benbot wants to win this game. And yeah, I mean, we're getting Yamato Cannon. Looks like that Infestor avoids that Yamato Cannon. I think it's just a slow death here for Benbot. It does get this location up. It's not a planetary yet, though, so nothing is certain. Corruptors diving in, trying to grab battle cruisers, but there's so many turrets here for Benbot. There's also, I mean, still 4 Vikings around. Can this BC stay alive? That's the question. It's very low, but Eris throws away a tremendous amount of resources trying to kill Benbot. And when I say Eris, I mean Changeling, guys. I don't know if I'll ever be able to catch myself on that one consistently. 36,000 resources lost, 15,000. This base is not yet a planetary, though. And Eris moves on in to actually attack the planetary, which is a little interesting. This could be a good fight for Benbot. The only question is whether Benbot can get up the money to secure this 4th base by some miracle. It needs... I'm going to say if Benbot can somehow get up a 5th base, it's got a chance in this game. But otherwise, I think it's just cooked. An Infestor gets killed. Eris consistently trying to run on in here and crash the gates. The planetary is being built at that 4th base location. Another battlecruiser gets grabbed. This one may escape. No, it's on cooldown and just gets gunned down. Benbot somehow staying at 155 supply, changing back up to 200 though, so another attack will be coming. This base is almost a planetary. Yamato Cannon going to save its battle cruiser homie as it gets freed from that neural parasite, then teleports out. BC's kind of bluffing a little bit as they're like, yeah, I'm totally going to stand here and fight, and then they just teleport out the last second. That one though was not off cooldown and perished. Benbot with its 3-3 Vikings doing pretty well against the Corruptors. Eris, notably a little bit notorious for just having 1 Spire for the air upgrade, so it's very slow to get 3-3, but eventually it does. Corruptors diving against turrets, against Vikings, not the best trades for them, as we've seen 43 perish, but Eris has the money. Do Vikings have extra range against Corruptors? Yes, they do. The Corruptors and the Vikings are probably 2 of the units that, if you look at StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, that are the most different. If you go and watch a Wings of Liberty game or play the Wings of Liberty campaign, you'll see that they are so darn slow. Their acceleration is totally different. Yeah, basically they can turn on a dime. They used to be like cruise ships with how slow they had to turn around. That's definitely an overstatement, but I'm trying to drive the point across that they can now micro and turn on a dime, and that kind of changed the dynamic between them a little bit. Vikings still win out head-to-head, however, Vikings stack. They're kind of squishy against Parasitic Bomb and Fungal Growth. And Corruptors, I mean, yeah, they're definitely very good units. Benbot will meet its maker, though. Unable to get the win against Changeling for this one, but a good hold. But again, it's just the what if. If Benbot had built that 5th base when it could have, there's a chance it could have won this game. It's kind of hard to talk about anything else when that happened. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, which bot do we want to see next? Let me know, or I'll just pick one of the bots that recently returned on the ladder. Very well done by Changeling. I need to set up like something that shocks me every time I say Eris instead of Changeling. Okay, GG. Let's get into the next match. And the next match shall be we could cast a Zozo game. I think Aeolus was updated, was it not? It was updated. Maybe like Dominion Dog versus Aeolus could be a good game. I'm hiding it. Don't look at the results, guys. Here, I'll go to the next page and pick another one. Don't look, don't look. Okay, we've got our next game picked out. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. If you guys are watching, click that like button. Yeah, in the email for Azeratul's Revenge, the author messaged me that he made a speedling bot too. But unfortunately, speedling bots are not the most entertaining thing to cast, which is very, very hypocritical of me. But that's just how I roll. Okay, so in the bottom right, it is our final match before we start the best of 5. It is going to be Dominion Dog. And taking on Dominion Dog is a fairly straightforward bot, but did quite well on the ladder for a bit. It's Eris, a Protoss bot. When are we getting the LaughNgamez Thor only bot? A Terran bot would be one that's fun for me to program, seeing as how I'm a Terran main. We're getting a forge for ALS. No rush, though. Just a safety forge, I think. A Terran bot would be very fun to program. Well, it would be very cool to create. The programming itself would be a struggle. Eris plays nice and safe with a blast from the past build. These builds are non-existent in StarCraft 2 Pro play anymore because, well, in Legacy of the Void, there's the Cyclone, there's the Ravager, cannons just die. Wasn't there a Widowmine blanket bot? Anybot. Yes. Anybot is no longer, or it's not on the ladder yet. I actually messaged the bot author, like, hey, when we get an Antibot back, because it's such an entertaining bot to watch. We get a very bizarre placed factory for Dominion Dog. That definitely will have some side effects. Meanwhile, the Reaper bypasses the cannons and begins harassing the main base. We see Dominion Dog saying Protoss early Reaper Cyclone. So this is why cannons suck, guys. The Reaper just jumped right by it. Yeah, as far as bots that are not on the ladder that are good and are missed, I'd say Antibot and Ketrock are the two bots. Oh, Antibot's back on the ladder. Wonderful. My apologies for missing that. I can't recall if Antibot is the Widowmine one or if it's Anti-Dev that only builds the Widowmines. Starport on the way up for Dominion Dog. We're getting a second Rax building. Yeah, Antibot's Widowmines is kind of an example of what you can do with bots. Very systematic the way it uses them, but it makes a lot of sense. I think there's probably lots of opportunity to do something with like turrets and tanks or tempests, that kind of thing. Like, we've seen defensive bots, but have we seen, like, only defensive bots? I mean, I know there's the hour limit on the ladder, so that definitely bottlenecks it a little bit. But it's like, what happens if Benbot just tries to have never attacks and just builds 3 tanks on all its bases? It's like, maybe it just defends forever and wins. What if you just cover the map in Widowmines and let your opponent run into them nonstop? So 2 slow zealots for ALS run into Reapers, then they just kind of give up on life because they have literally no hope against the Reaper micro of Dominion Dog. Dominion Dog is going for its mass expand, going for a 4th base against a 2-base Protoss that is most certainly Stalker rushing. There was a cannon carpet bot too. Yeah, I could see that being decent. Unfortunate. I mean, cannons are probably the worst, one of the worst choices to do that with, just because, like, they're outranged by everything. Like, a cyclone can kill unlimited cannons. A tank can kill unlimited cannons. Sharkbot does that, yeah, but Sharkbot backs it up with, like, Tempest and stuff. Dominion Dog is going to have its 4th base canceled. What's the logical response to that? Well, build more bases. There's only a couple Ravens out for Dominion Dog. However, it is producing tanks and Marines to try and defend hell. It could very well be in a lot of trouble, though, because, like, ALS is on the gas, producing Stalkers as quick as it can. It's got Warp Gate, and the Stalkers are now crossing the map. It's being kind of played a little bit by these Ravens, though, going back and forth, doing what bots do. Now, there's also Blink done. And Dominion Dog gets a tank set up, and tanks are kind of the big counter to Stalkers, but this is exactly why programming is hard, guys. Dominion Dog gets programmed to keep its Ravens safe, but keep eyes on the enemy, and ALS is like, I need to kill that Raven, and then it just keeps getting played a little bit. One supply depot goes on down. ALS is trying to move up the ramp. Can it get the Liberator? That would be a nice pick-off. The tank was unsieged, but now it does siege up. ALS is doing some fancy footwork with the Stalkers. 2 of them have perished so far. There's now 2 tanks out for Dominion Dog, as Dominion Dog being very open with its chat tags as far as how it responds to these things. Marines getting whittled down. The tanks, again, are the main threat for these Stalkers. The Liberator's quite exposed and does go down. Meanwhile, Dominion Dog has got a 3rd base, which is spotted. It's also got a 4th base, too, and will have lots of mule money to make use of, but it's losing lots of SCVs in the transfer. Auto turrets going down. Tanks kind of cutting these armies off, but for now, the 3rd base is being worked on and possibly will just get killed off. Sharkbot is on the ladder. I believe it's in a restricted mode based off what the author said, as I'm not sure they had time to fully update it or whatever. 3rd base really, really being worked on here by Dominion Dog, and will get killed. Unfortunately, it's got this other location. ALS actually... Oh, it just barely misses this base. That's significant. And Dominion Dog is trying to hold at the bottom of its ramp and just move out, but it would probably be better off just sitting at home with these tanks. It unsieges them again, all at the same time. More SCVs transferring and dying. These Stalkers moving forward. The tanks are unsieged presently. That could be a dead tank. It doesn't get picked off. It's coming on home to be repaired, which is definitely important, but we see Dominion Dog not really playing around the tanks. It's more of a bot that just relies on a good economy and throwing units at its enemy, not so much just on these tight-knit compositions. So the tank behavior not ideal. They do siege up. They are able to drive this overly passive Stalkers of ALS back. ALS could probably just kill these off if it went for it. It does get one of the tanks, which is important, as Dominion Dog is not building another. Presently, it's building another Cyclone. We're 3 bases to 3 bases. Stalkers en masse on 3 bases against a Terran that's on 3 bases, just pumping out units. But if Dominion Dog just sat back and turtled up, it would probably be fine here. That is not the case, though. ALS has +2 attack. It's now getting shields, because why not? A couple of tanks are sieging on up. Stalkers, see, they move forward, they fire a few shots, but then they eat some tank shots, as they are being very, very passive here. And Dominion Dog is moving out. +1 attack about to finish up for Dominion Dog. Liberator set up, getting some nice shots off on some Stalkers. The Stalkers may get the Liberator, and they do. Meanwhile, the tank has killed 11 units. What a hero tank for sure. Liberator sieged up, tank doing its thing. ALS does take a 4th base. It's going to take the gold base. Dominion Dog, meanwhile, just pumping out bio. Kind of shooting itself in the foot by moving out once again. This tank is incredibly exposed. Up to 13 kills, though, which is no small amount. Such a weird skirmish between these two bots. Resources lost. Dominion Dog is in the lead, which is pretty darn good for the Terran. But ALS taking a 4th base, no 4th for Dominion Dog yet, so Dominion Dog will run dry prior to its opponent, and it's probably starting to because Dominion Dog's income and base mining rate is inflated by these mules. At the same time, it's also delayed by these by this factory at the natural. Stalkers skirmishing in the middle of the map, microing back. We see ALS takes a very distinct step back with its stalkers when they're taking damage, but that kind of leads to some over passiveness. Like, they just sit back. That's all these guys are doing. They're injured, they're sitting back and waiting. Now, stalkers are skirmishing with this bio. However, there's medivacs being added into the mix. There's 1-1 on the bio, which is definitely helping out. Dominion Dog may be reaching a bit of a snowball point with its army. At the same time, I mean, ALS is still trading out little bit by little bit. Dominion Dog still only on 3 bases. Its income will be starting to drop. Stalkers for ALS wandering into the tank, just getting one-tapped anytime the tank connects because they just pull back when they're injured, and that sets themselves up for failure in the next engagement. Stalkers do move forward. They pick off a Liberator. That's quite nice. This may pull Dominion Dog back, which would be very important. ALS wants to keep the pressure on. It wants to prevent an expansion going up. For now, though, Dominion Dog has amassed quite a Terran army. 38 Protoss supply against 63. And we see, yeah, ALS not really getting the pickoffs that it needs. The Stalkers, yeah, they're not exactly handling this situation as well as they should. We do see them target fire down the injured units, which is good, but just not enough units here for ALS, and the trades have really fallen off a cliff. We see what happens once the Terran reaches critical mass with the bio. Once it gets medivacs out, that really improves the trades. And oh, the gold base being harassed a little bit, that's a big deal. I mean, there's still a timer on this game for Dominion Dog. Like, the main is virtually all mined out. Well, not all mined out, but it's really getting there. ALS, can it hold on top of this ramp by some miracle? It's definitely a better defensive position. It's also got those cannons from earlier on. And, okay, yeah, Dominion Dog is repositioning its army. It's going for the gold base. This does leave 2 of the tanks exposed. This one Stalker actually standing on the tank, which is good. The rest of them could blink on top of it, but they do not. So 1 more of them dies. The gold base of ALS gone, though. And that all of a sudden has put Dominion Dog in a phenomenal position because ALS's income is just going to plummet. And that means Dominion Dog is on even bases with its opponent, which is really all it needs to win because it's got the big army, it's got the same economy. There's nothing going for ALS in this game. And it was a very sloppy game from both bots, but that's what you'd expect with 2 aggressive bots like these. Brian Sparks says, live streaming some bots. We are live, and better yet, we're going to have a best of 5 between Eris and Negativezero after this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, click the like button. If you're watching the VOD, leave a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you just watch my videos through recommended on YouTube, what are you doing? It's about time you commit. And yeah, if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. And big thanks to everyone who does. Dominion Dog, its bio is quite good, is able to clean this up. And that is going to be that for this game. 28 likes. You guys blow it out of the water every time. I don't always have time to live stream these days, but I think it might be like a fun thing to do like a bot best of 5 every Saturday or something like that, if I can. Played a little bit of StarCraft last night. I'm like, ooh, this is good. Got introduced to your channel off recommended off Winter StarCraft's castings. Well, I'm glad that YouTube shares the channel. And welcome to the channel, everyone. Okay, so that is it for our preliminary matches. We are going to start loading this up. I just got to make sure that I pull it up in a spoiler-free way for myself. Okay, yeah, I'll actually just hide that for now. Make sure that I have the chat on. Yes, we do have the chat on. And I'll just download those replays. The coveted replays. Keep in mind, guys, I want to disclose that this is in no way a scientific test best of 5. This is just 5 replays that I generated, and we're just gonna click on them in some random order. Oh, 3 of them are on the same map though, so I'll probably do the ones that are not on that map, and I might actually request a few more because we don't want duplicates. Request a match. I'll do that right now, and then we can start casting. Actually, yeah, I'll just load us into the first game. Okay, so the first one, it's going to be Eris versus Negativezero on Ultra Love. 2x2, 4x4 matches. Let the chaos begins. If only we had the API support for that. Okay, so we are in the first game. I'll just pull that up. Brian Sparks throws $5 at the channel. Thank you very much for your support. It is appreciated. I'm just going to figure out why that alert didn't come up. I do like it when the... So I think we had the one in-game earlier work. C2 out of game. Here, I'll just add another. Okie dokie. All right, guys, we're getting ready for this best of 5. I'm just going to request those other matches real quick, and then we will kick this game off. Okie dokie. It's time. Let's start. Spawning in the upper right side of Ultra Love, it is Eris. Written by Team Eris, but I believe it is Rasper who does most of the heavy lifting for that these days. So kind of a one-man project, I believe now. And taking on Eris, it is Negativezero, programmed by MindMe, the top of the bot ladder. And yes, these two are very formidable bots. And we are lucky to have them. Kind of the 2 best macro bots in their own right. Negativezero known for its incredible army. Eris known for just more so its incredible macro. So we got macro and micro between these two. Probe scouting for Negativezero. Looking around, we see the very cinematic pathing around the base. There's that wall going up. Watching Eris max out. Yeah, Eris, if left to its own devices, is just a monster. An absolute monster. YouTube donations aren't available in many places in the world. No join button, etc. Take that into account. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. There is a PayPal link for anyone who is so inclined to support the channel, but all right, we have got a Ling Scout for Eris. Negativezero does get that wall up, though. The Adept is out. And this is one of the things that Negativezero is such a monster at. That's moving around with these Adepts, getting early damage done. There was a period in which it was kind of just murdering all bots with the Adepts. Not so much these days, as the Adept is trying to catch the Ling. That's quite a tall order. Shades by the Ling. Yeah, we see the Shade kind of works independently from the actual Adept's priority here for Negativezero. Like, it doesn't park the Shade on top of the Adept to kill it. It seems to send them away, so while the Adept is still trying to target that Ling, it's kind of pulling itself back, unfortunately. It does eventually get that Ling, though, but Eris gets a nice scout. There is an Oracle out for the Protoss. Second Oracle on the way. Forge coming up too. Very quick third base from Negativezero. Maybe dual stream in Twitch. If I was a regular, like, streamer, I would absolutely dual stream, but I'm just a YouTube content creator. I used to stream on Twitch fairly regularly, but again, not necessarily gonna bother with that. Twitch is also a worse platform than YouTube, in my opinion. This is coming from someone who creates content. I used to watch Twitch every day for StarCraft 2, multiple hours, but then they broke ad block. And I was someone that would spend money on the platform. I'd subscribe to people. I'd give donations and that kind of thing, even buy their weird bits every now and then. But then just the fact that every time I open a Twitch stream, I get an instant, like, unskippable long ad. It's a little brutal. There's a reason why I pay for YouTube Premium. Because it's worth it just to not get the ads. Now, we have Roaches coming in for Eris as it goes for a very early attack, trying to bring the pain to Negativezero. The third base is not mining presently. Oracle's activating their pulsar beams and using Revelation to ensure the kill on these Roaches. Roaches coming on in here for Eris again, though. The Revelation has all been used up. It's quite an aggressive move from the Red Zerg. It's been doing this a little bit recently. There's Roaches all over the base of Negativezero as Eris commits on 45 drones. Lots more Lings reinforcing here. It's so cool to see Eris pivot from just being a macro Zerg to a Zerg that does get aggressive. Negativezero's Stalkers are trying to micro against it. They were doing okay against the Roaches, but not against the Lings. The third base, again, having its mining disrupted as the probes scramble. Energy recharge can be used on these Oracles, but that's got a significant cooldown. There is Immortals out now, which can really solidify this Protoss army, but it's 85 supply against 33. If Eris can bring all this down on Negativezero, we could be looking at a lead for the Zerg bot. Negativezero is pulling back towards this third. There's no battery, though. Probes are scrambling. The Immortal trying to kite back. And the Roaches do give up the chase for now, so they will not secure the kill. That's quite significant. Negativezero does have a Colossi on the way. It's also got +1 attack. Eris, meanwhile, just pumping more Roaches. But look at this Zerg army. That's so many Roaches. They're getting distracted, though, by a single probe. The probe dies, though, so now they can refocus. And the third base is still in a lot of trouble here. The Oracle has been energy recharged. It can pop that pulsar beam, but... And now a Colossi is out to start getting some big shots off. But look at all this Zerg at Negativezero's natural base. And we see that Negative0 is in quite a bit of trouble. The third base still having its mining disrupted by a handful of lings. Eris is deciding not to take this engagement, as I guess it fears the Colossi, fears the kiting a little bit. All of a sudden, the Zerg is transitioning behind this 26 drones at once. It does have a fifth base on the way. Someone pointed out that the Observer is stuck at the fourth base waiting to secure that, but that is not great. And then we have got another Immortal on the way for Negative0. So Eris transitioning gives the Zerg, the Zerg gives the Protoss a little bit of time to rebuild up here as Eris completely changes gears. It was floating a ridiculous amount of minerals, and the answer to that, thanks to Zerg, is to say, hey, let's build 30 drones in 60 seconds. Eris once again trying to get aggressive, though, coming in towards the third. Any mining disruption is huge to interrupt the production of Negative0. Revelation hits the roaches, though, and will send them packing. Eris seems to be aware of when its roaches are revealed and pulls them back to safety. Roach speed, glial reconstitution is on the way for Eris. That's definitely significant, seeing as how it's got 32 roaches and continues to build more. We're getting a Spire on the way as well. Eris is maxed out at the 8.5 minute mark, which is just impressive, seeing as how it's been trading out a decent number of units. I mean, it barely lost any, though, in those assaults. 50 dead lings, 7 dead roaches. Negative0 was unable to secure a lot of kills thanks to that burrow mechanic, and just that there was so many roaches that it wasn't really able to target those down quick enough. Now, Negative0 does get a fourth base up, despite having just survived all that chaos. It's trying to reach for a longer macro game, but Eris is coming on in. Glial reconstitution still not yet done. The roaches are pushing forward. They're going to disrupt mining at this third base. Once again, there is Immortal, Stalkers, Sentries, and a Colossi to handle these roaches. Negative0 with +2 attack is able to pop these off quite quickly now. However, it doesn't really matter if Eris can get some critical damage done on the other side of the map, and it will target down that third base. So that is a big blow to the enemy. Eris just needs okay trades in this game presently. The roaches are not getting very many unit kills. They will get a sentry in that, which is nice. There's also no detection present. Where is that observer? It's chilling at the fourth base still. Revelations are available on the oracles. There is a nice immortal count too. Negative0 up to 5 immortals. These units are incredible when it comes to bot games because they're very hard to finish off, which is an area that bots struggle. For now, we're getting Blink 3-1 on the way. Negative0's army will continue to get better and better, so Eris does kind of want to try and end the game sooner rather than later, but for now, it is kind of just trickling units into Negative0. I think we need to see Eris pull back for a minute, 2 minutes, and then go back in once it's at 200 supply, but for now, it's just kind of stuck in attack mode. Roaches and lings are moving forward, but they cannot engage into this big Protoss death ball. We see Corruptors, though. They can challenge the Oracles, drive the Colossi away. Fungal Growth hits some of the Immortals, too. One of those Immortals is very injured. Negative0 needs to cherish every single one of these units, seeing as how it's only on 3 bases. It's kind of a time thing for Eris, but look at this. Negative0, even on supply just about, compared to the Zerg, stepping onto creep. Eris may have overplayed its hand a little bit by getting too aggressive. Now it's on the defense against Negative0. Hydras are pretty good against the Immortals. Upgrades, though, are really lacking for the Zerg. +1 attack against 3-1 Protoss. Lings, Hydras, Corruptors moving forward. The Immortals, though, kiting back till the barrier comes off cooldown, so it's able to save itself. Eris is in a bit of a precarious position after putting itself in a really good spot. It just needs to consolidate forces, but it's not doing so, and this is how Negative0 can win games off the back of its great army control. It was in so much trouble this game, but now it's pushing across the map. There is still a lot of Zerg production. Negative0 is trying to get a 4th base up while it's being aggressive, which is just incredible, seeing as how this Protoss bot is always expanding. Regardless of whether it's seemingly defending or attacking, it has that good macro element. The Zerg is given a moment to breathe as Negative0 falls all the way home. And now we're looking at a situation in which Eris is going to have to take on Negativezero, which has climbed up to 170 supply. It's going to be on 4 bases again as it re-secures this 3rd base, which means Eris will need to get some better trades, and I'm not sure it's going to be able to do that. Negativezero is just too good with its army control, its composition. If we pull up the army value, it's actually fairly even, but just like the composition alone, it's 6 Immortals, 2 Colossi, Disruptors, and the Immortals, I think, really are the backbone of this, because Negativezero, like, it starts to take damage on the Immortal, on a single Immortal, then it pulls it back. And Eris just cannot kill these units, it seems. The Zerg is going to try, though, as it's got a whopping 5 Infestors with a good amount of energy. Hydra's on mass now. 2-1 upgrades on them. A Fungal goes down. Negativezero has Zealots to buffer. Disruptor going out, not getting too much done. Observers are targets during this, which picking them off is a nice prize for the Zerg, but it needs to deal with the main Protoss army, and the Hydras are kind of just in an anti-choke point here as Eris just has its army melted against Negativezero. A lot of the Corruptors have died or have had to fall back. Fungal growth hitting the Protoss army, but Fungal is not that good against Protoss. They are beefy units. They can eat quite a few Fungals before they die. The shields regenerate quickly. The Immortal Barrier comes off cooldown. Eris fails to seal the deal in what was a game that was looking like a victory. Negativezero, meanwhile, again expanding, takes a 5th base against a Zerg, which has the rest of the map, basically, but is just unable to deal with the Protoss army. Negativezero getting defensive, but then is going to go for an attack. There's a single Broodlord morphing for Eris at this location. It just finished up. That's actually going to give this army pause, as there's not much anti-air here. And so Broodlords could be the saving grace for Eris. 2 more are being morphed. They are phenomenal units and have been used to kill Negativezero in the past. The Broodlord Siege is so strong. A really nice Fungal hits that Protoss army, but again, a Fungal is only good if it's followed up. And now Negativezero will need more anti-air. It's only got 8 Stalkers against 3 Broodlords on the map. There's another one morphing. Eris, though, having its economy disrupted. This could potentially be a fatal blow if it heads into a bit of a death spiral. So we'll see if Eris can stabilize upon losing this important mining base. Where's the Broodlords? There's 4 of them, and there's 2 there. Okay, where are the rest of them? Is there still one at the back here? Yes, there is. Negativezero is committing on in, but right now it's 54 supply against 120. The Protoss is in a pretty good position. There is Corruptors, there is Broodlords, not much anti-air for the Protoss right now. Broodlords don't really have any attack upgrades, so the Broodlings can kind of actually be dealt with fairly easily as Negativezero just chews through Eris's bases, and it's never just doing one thing. And so this base in the bottom left is now being worked upon and is probably going to die. So Eris's production has fallen off a cliff here. And what was a very close game has now become a Negativezero victory thanks to its just incredible army control. It was so close to dying there. Eris's Roach attack really was ferocious. Maybe it should have just committed more. But when it started to transition, it gave Negativezero the time it needed. And now Eris is a dead nerd Zerg. Yeah, Negativezero's attacks all over the place is very impressive. We get a Neural Parasite on a Colossi. Who knows? Maybe Eris should be using more Neural Parasite, as the Fungals just don't seem to cut it. Like, they look good on camera, but they're actually not getting that much damage done. Tom saying, is battery overcharge available per Nexus or global cooldown? It is a global cooldown. Yeah, Eris just not having the upgrades, not able to take the trades it needs. Maybe if it counterattacked a bit, it would have been able to get something done, but Negativezero builds these batteries, these cannons at every base. And that is going to be it for game number 1. We will fast forward a little bit through the ends of these. It is a bit of a foregone conclusion, this game. So close, though. Eris almost killing Negativezero. Eris almost stabilizing with Broodlords to drag the game out longer. Just not able to do so. And that will be game number 1. But that's the beauty of a best of 5. We get quite a few more of these. At least. Okay. So we'll go ahead and load on into the next game. We just did Ultra Love, so we are going to do Ley Lines next. Someone saying, hey, mind me? Kind of weird your messages don't show up in the top chat mode. Saw them on stream. Oh, is there... Oh, see... YouTube is so stupid with this. See, it literally didn't show Mind Me's, literally didn't show me Mind Me's messages. Huh. Apologies if I missed anyone's text. Oh yeah, we're just casting on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's very silly. It does the same thing for comments in the Studio app. It just prioritizes to top comments. And it just prioritizes to top comments, so when people say things like more bots, sometimes I don't get them, but it's very sporadic. So yes, my apologies for not seeing that. The fact that a chat would ever default to not showing everything is just wrong. Like, AI doesn't know what important messages are or things. So yes. Hello everyone who's tuning on in. I've got my chat set to the right setting now. We are heading into game number 2. Well, it's already underway. Eris versus Negativezero, a best of 5. That last game was incredibly close. So while Negativezero is the favorite, it's not straightforward. I am not in full screen. Oh my gosh. Apologies, guys. I need to set up those hotkeys that I have for my Afrika. And by Afrika, I mean soup. Okay, let's see hotkeys. Switch to scene. Okay. Okay, I've now got it set up. So that anytime... The way that... There used to be a program called SC2 Switcher, which was very handy because you could... It just detected when you were in an actual game of StarCraft 2 and would change your scenes, but that was broken and not updated anymore. So you have to manually change your scenes. But if you're a fool like me, sometimes you forget. So what I did was I just changed it so that anytime I press the hotkey to enable like a best of 5, it changes. So, but I didn't have that set up for bots because I don't usually cast best of 5s for bots. Anyway, big thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you enjoy these bot live streams, click that like button. You guys are the best at it. The like to view ratio on the bot content is phenomenal. Lings for Eris trying to shut down Negativezero's Adept, which does bounce to the natural. It's taken some heat from a queen, though. Incredible programming on both sides. Good defense from Eris. Does get the Adept. So far, just a couple Lings and an Adept that have died. We get the very quick third from Negativezero again. Eris does have the Roach Warren building. And then there is Burrow. We'll see if it stops at 40 drones or if it's going to keep on going. And if it just roach rushes Negativezero every game. I don't know, to be honest, but that has been what Eris has been doing lately. Although it's already going up to 50 drones, so I'm thinking we're getting macro here from Eris. Which could be good, could be bad. Negativezero, meanwhile, getting out that robo. It does have 2 oracles out already. Just chilling at home for now. Nice and defensive. And the Zerg gets a 4th. +1 attack on the way for Negativezero. Robo Bay as well. It will not be hindered early on in this game, like the previous one. So we could get a quick 4th base. This just means that since Eris isn't going for that mid-game attack, that it will probably be building towards that 200 supply attack. And we'll see if Negativezero can match that or not. Yeah, it is very gross that YouTube doesn't default. It's the same with comments in the app. Hydralisk Den on the way for Eris. 5th base on the way up as well. And we're getting more and more Lings produced by the Zerg. Lings can be good against things like Stalkers and Immortals. Yeah, it's really silly that YouTube would default to something like that, because literally if Tom hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have known that Mind Me was here. I don't know if it's based off, it says top chat. And it's like, YouTube, what are you doing? How is someone who routinely comments on videos and, say, watches the content? Yeah, exactly. Like, how is that not considered important? It's almost like they should just let things be. We do have lots of Lings out on the map for Eris. They are going to find some Stalkers. Eris has shown us some very good Ling commitments in the past. They are going to trade out for some Zealots. Not the best trade at the end of the day, I don't think, because there's lots of shooting going on by the Protoss to pick these off. I guess it's better than nothing. However, this is a lot of supply for the Zerg to perish. And look at this. Negativezero, I think, is already looking to move out to get aggressive. Lings wrapping around a single Stalker. They are getting on some sentries. The Colossi retreating, but they are able to save those sentries, which is a big deal. Negativezero does have the 4th base on the way. And let's see, Queens and Lings defending a random Stalker out on the map, but Negativezero is going for a kill already. Eris is building roaches, which I think is quite important, as it needs more than Lings, and it needs a bit of beef. Hydras are picking off some Stalkers too. We are missing speed, I believe, on those Hydras. Or there's muscular augments, pardon me. We're missing speed on the roaches. It would be interesting if Eris does start building lurkers. I'm wondering if there's a reason why the bot author doesn't have that programmed in. Maybe they're just not effective. Although they are very good units, so it's difficult to imagine that they wouldn't do well. Roaches for Eris are trying to defend this Building 6 base, and they should be able to if they actually commit on these Stalkers. The Zerg is maxed out. It wants to fight as soon as possible against Negativezero. Negativezero busy hitting the Zerg's 6 base, but it's really this battle at the front that matters. Hydras can potentially kill the Oracles. They get one of them. They get the second. That's a nice pickoff. Now, supply-wise, -0 is on 133 supply. Eris is diving. -0 retreats with the Colossi to the batteries, to the cannons. It's quite a defensive position. Eris puts a lot of DPS into a gateway, a couple of pylons, but that is not the units that are actively killing the Zerg force. We see Roaches getting good efficiency, though, pulling back to where it's safe. We see the Roaches. They retreat till they're out of observer range. Then they burrow to heal on up. -0, though, climbs in supply despite this battle, despite losing a gateway. And Eris really needs to get something done. And let's see here. Corruptors are trying to pick off observers. That would be nice. Improve the survivability of the Roaches, so that's good. Infestors tossing fungals down, and Immortal paths way too aggressively, perhaps getting got by the terrain on ley lines. Neural Parasite hits a Colossi. That's really good for Eris. Corruptors are kind of overstaying their welcome, but they're acting as glorified laser sponges against the Protoss army. They grab an Oracle. They might even get a Colossi. That would be huge for the Zerg. It stays alive. -0 able to keep that unit alive. Supply-wise, things are still staying the same. -0, 150 supply. Eris needs to kill the Protoss before it hits like 160, 170 supply, or things will not be looking good for it. And we have a fungal going down, hitting the Protoss army. Eris even building Vipers in this game, which it did not do in the previous match. Great abducts. Is there enough Zerg, though, to deal with those units? And there's not, so abducts into nothing, basically. Eris just not having the army supply present to shut that down. But while this is going on, we're getting Broodlords out, and the timing seems much better for Eris. The fact that it didn't build all those Roaches early on, it's now getting Broodlords when -0 has no presence on Eris's side of the map. This is going to give the Zerg time to potentially get those sieged up on the Protoss. Fungals consistently going down on the Protoss, but again, they're not really comboed with anything, so they're not getting that much done. -0 just about maxed on out. A Broodlord going to work. Able to start working on some of these Stalkers. More Broodlords are being produced. This is definitely good for Eris. We have got -0, though, pushing out. It's maxed out. It's at 200 supply, so it's just going to be able to replace units that it loses. And we'll see if Eris can maybe get something done with the Broods. But again, the Broods suffering from lack of upgrades. For those of you that don't know, Broodlords, they have 2 attacks. The initial strike from the Broodlings, and then the Broodlings themselves rely on melee attack. And so that kind of makes them a unique unit in that regard. As -0 pushes on in, Eris is trying to hold off. However, its supply is actually falling, and we're seeing -0 now hit a critical base of Eris. I'm not sure the Zerg will be able to defend this. The Broodlords, though, are able to hold the line, but if exterior bases are being killed off, that will spell death for Eris. -0 tries to commit underneath some of the Broodlords. A fungal trying to save them. The Broodlords retreating, throwing down so many Broodlings here. The Protoss army is really in the red, and so some of these high-value units could be picked off, but it's not like -0 can't replace a decent number of them. Meanwhile, the Zerg is still being pressured at these bases. Eris really needs to shut this down, but -0 is the best at hitting multiple locations at once. And so while Eris is forcing a stalemate on the front with these Broodlords, with these Infestors, good fungal underneath the Stalkers that does prevent them blinking underneath the Broodlords. But yeah, if Eris is losing bases and having critical mining disrupted, then things will start to go south for it. It does seem, though, the Zerg is pushing some of the Protoss harassment back. It's also holding the line on the front, 180 supply against 200. Upgrades will be getting better for the Zerg as well. Getting armor, getting melee attack, more Broodlords being produced as well. That's very significant. But look at this, -0 all of a sudden with Stalkers at other mining locations of Eris, and anytime the drones are forced off the line, that is a huge deal, because these bots, they're both building units as quickly as they can. -0 all of a sudden falling in supply a little bit, I guess losing some high-value units and having to replace them. It consistently loses observers, having lost 9 this game, but they've got to be on the front lines there. So Eris getting nice pickoffs with those Corruptors. -0 does lose some units as they commit on in very deep, and that can set them up to be picked off. But look at this. One base has died. This other base is in trouble. And Eris is struggling to be in 2 places at once. These Broodlords, they're skirmishing with Stalkers, but then, I mean, this location is just as important as the front. And so Negativezero is trying to pick off this base. Roaches are skirmishing consistently, definitely buying time for Eris, but it does need to shut this down. Looks like Negativezero did go for a blink underneath some of the Stalkers. Going up the ramp, though, is definitely risky. However, the Stalkers are coming in at really nice angles on top of these Broodlords, somehow surrounding the Broodlords on creep. Eris losing these critical units that were holding the stalemate, and Eris is losing on all fronts here, as Negativezero is just able to make incredible work with its units happen. I don't know if it's the upgrades, just the unit composition, or what, but definitely good blink micro there from Negativezero, able to take down Broodlords with Blink Stalkers is what is just incredibly well done. The fact that Negativezero doesn't have to transition to Tempest to potentially win this game. Eris has a lot of dead supply in these Corruptors. And yeah, this is just looking a little bit problematic here for Eris. It's not a little problematic. It's pretty much lights out, I think, at this point, guys. Negativezero does not tend to throw games when it's got a phenomenal lead. Some Stalkers randomly get recalled to deal with, I think, like 1 harassing Roach. And yeah, Eris not mining anymore. Again, such a close game between these two. It really shows that they are the 2 best bots, but Negativezero able to eke out a 2-0 lead in this series. And so we'll go ahead and fast forward as, yeah, there's no coming back. And just we saw, as soon as those Broodlords died, Eris just crumbled. Because, like, being bullied at one location is doable, but as soon as those Broodlords died, it was everything fell to pieces. I'd be interested if Eris got out a few more Broodlords, got out some Lurkers maybe, but I don't know what it should do to improve in these situations. So GG. We will go ahead and load on into our next match here. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. Okay, we've done Ultralev, we've done Leylines. It's time for Maganatha. If you guys enjoy these Saturday live streams, click that like button. If you're just tuning in to a random stream you clicked on your sidebar of StarCraft 2 bots, subscribe, as we do daily videos here on the channel. Almost daily, anyway. Okay, it's a best of 5. We've got Eris on the ropes up against Negativezero. Really enjoying this best of 5 format. Individual bot matches are very fun to watch, but it's equally as important to get a look at how these bots interact with each other, particularly when they're the best bots. We do have a ladder lock date announced for... We've got a ladder lock date announced for pro bots, which I believe is top 16 bots, right? And that's very exciting. So November the 7th, the top 16 authors, right? Yeah, I was gonna make a note about how, of course, like Team Eris isn't gonna have 5 bots in there, which is definitely cool. Because yeah, we don't want one author to have 9 bots in the tournament. As cool as it would be. As cool as it would be to have all of Team Eris's bots in there, it's understandable, because at what point does someone make a minor tweak to their bot and then say, hey, let's Let's just have all of these in there, right? Like, what if negative zero? What if mine me put 6 negative zeros on the ladder? I will pull up that ladder in a moment. Did it change scenes? It did change scenes. Okay, good. 1 author, 9 bots. I think if you were to do it, it would just be 1 bot per race, and then maybe a random bot per author. So, like, the hard limit would have to be 4 if you ever allowed more than 1. Maybe 2 would be an interesting thing. But then again, you'd have bot authors literally duplicating their bots to increase their chances in the tournaments. Like, if you have a top 10 bot, just duplicate it, make minor tweaks. But again, if you limited it to race, it's like, that wouldn't necessarily hold true. It would also make an absolute mess of the ladder. Exactly, yeah. It would be something. So maybe that's something we'll focus on here on this channel, because like the proper tournaments, we don't get, like the proper tournaments, we don't get to see all of bot authors' creations. Whereas here on the channel, we can highlight them a bit more. For example, like, it's a bit of a shame that Deimos and Phobos are off the ladder just because Rasper felt bad about them taking up spots when he's already got 3 bots in the top 10, because it would be 5 out of 10 on the ladder. Which is very, very respectful, I must say. There's no rules or anything to say, hey, don't spam the ladder with clones of your bot, and it's not clones even. Like, it's literally good, unique bots. So we'll pull up the ladder after this match at some point. We can take a look, build some hype for pro bots. I've also got some human versus bot games to cast at some point. LaughNgamez, what's up with your bot? Haven't heard much about it recently. Crawler was just like a proof of work and concept and test for myself. I am not a programmer, and I don't really have the time to program. I'm busy in school, and then of course I do the YouTube in some of my spare time as well. So who knows? Maybe at someday I'll pick it up again, but Crawler, like, it was the code for it was an absolute mess. It was an absolute garbled AI written code mess. Decently effective for an AI written code jumbled mess, but oh, nice drone pickoff, but it does cost an adept for -0. Meanwhile, some lings are scouting and harassing a little bit. But yeah, I'd literally have to restart Crawler's development, because it was, if I pick it up again, because, like, I mean, realistically, it would maybe take a couple hours to program from scratch again. Subway to Schiff. Hey there, fun to see you live. Welcome to the live stream. I'm definitely having fun with it. You know what's a good live stream when you're not, like, watching the clock or even aware of how long you've been live. I have no idea how long I've been live today. And I'm someone who generally doesn't like streaming for more than a couple hours. Maybe it's because a couple of hours is a lot of talking. But even when I'm, like, playing ladder or something, I just get hungry. Just stay live until Texas kicks off. Is that a football thing? Or is it baseball? College football. Okay. Well, I'm glad to be an alternate source of entertainment. -0 consistently using these hallucinations. It's very notable in this game as well. Eris not going for that roach rush. It is playing a macro game. So we'll definitely have to keep eyes on whether we get those broodlords in a timely manner or not, because they really are the thing Eris needs if the game goes on longer. Ling's harassing at Negativezero's 4th base attempt. This is nice. Keeping the Protoss on its toes. Ling harassment is very powerful. We've got a probe right now chasing a Ling. As that probe gets deleted. Nice find for Eris. Negativezero is already setting up to take its 5th base, which is very cool. Lings will find that Zealot, though, and look at that. Eris just immediately knows to kill that Zealot. As the Lings then move towards the 3rd base of the Protoss. No batteries or cannons set up there yet. This is going to disrupt mining a little bit. So Eris isn't just playing some totally passive game. More Lings being sent on out. It's just that... It's that Zerg style where you hit your opponent where they are not. And Eris gets these Lings and it's killing off such a good amount of probes here. 12 probes, keeping Negativezero back at home. At the same time, though, the Protoss is already at that 150 supply mark. Eris fires up 10 drones. It fires up a Spire. It's getting out Infestors. But we've seen the Zerg with these tools before, and it wasn't able to kill Negativezero. It is a maxed out Zerg. Eris even killing the rocks, which is kind of comical. Has to deal with these Zealots first. And then Eris just kind of getting set up. Maganatha is a very unique map as far as the base layouts, the attack paths. That can definitely be a big factor when it comes to deciding who wins bot games, as Eris goes for a bit of a roach attack. However, these roaches are by themselves as the speed zealots of Negativezero just spill forward and cut them up. However, the Protoss army is a little bit split up. The Zerg gets on top of a Colossi. Will it kill it off? Yes, it does. A Pylon and the Nexus could be in a little bit of trouble. It is just an attack at one location, though, but Negativezero saying, I can't fight this. It's not committing in to save the Nexus. And then we have Roaches and Hydras able to pick off some Zealots with a nice fungal. So Negativezero takes a big blow. At the same time, it's important to note you need more than one win against Negativezero in order to secure the game, because the Protoss is already building another base, so it will be on a 4-base economy pretty soon. The Zerg is spilling in more and more units. Fungal growth hits the Protoss army, but not that much Zerg supply is here. Like, there's oh gosh, this is 18 Roaches here trying to kill Negativezero. Eris needs 200 supply here right now. A couple more units are trickling on in, but when attacking into this position, Eris will not have success. There's a single Roach harassing at this 4th base. That is so pivotal. Will the Roach burrow? Yes, it does. There's no detection on deck except for that Revelation, and it gets used to kill that. That's incredibly well done by Negativezero. Its recall use seems to be on point at the moment. Eris is still trying to kill the Protoss. If it can keep trading out, keep the Protoss at the sub 150 supply mark, that can be a way that it wins. But Negativezero, it's got a nice defender's position right now. There is a Viper and a Duck to secure the kill on the Disruptor. It had just fired, so not the biggest loss, but still a nice move there by Eris. Corruptors are going to get a Colossi, and things are looking pretty promising for the Zerg bot right now here on Maganatha. There's no more harassment at this 4th base. Cannons are getting established for Negativezero. Queens have walked all the way to the front lines, though, although it's not exactly far off of creep, and Immortal is rather isolated here. Will it get knurled? Will it get abducted? Something like that? The answer is no, as Eris is going for the gateway once again. Seems to be a bit of a quirk, as it just kills that off. A fungal growth gets a nice connection. Parasitic bomb hits an oracle. It will probably die, and it does. So Eris just making Negativezero burn through its money by replacing these units, whether they're the most high-value targets or not. That is significant for the Zerg. Blinding Cloud, Fungal Growth, combo from Eris. That Fungal may actually even kill a Stalker, which is nice, but the Zerg does have to back up for a moment, and I think it's backing up because it's getting out Broodlords now. We're getting 13 Hydras built at a time. There's also a little Spore Crawler Forest that's been constructed by the Zerg. We've got a Scouting Ling identifying the new 5th base of Negativezero, the new 4th, I believe, as Negativezero is trying to get up to 5 bases. Once again, we've got Immortals on creep. Things aren't looking terrible for the Zerg, but take a look at the supply. Negativezero is at 160. That's higher than it's been, I think, all game. And yeah, supply is definitely a big indicator of how Negativezero is doing against Eris. Corruptors do find a Colossi. There's not enough anti-air to save this. There is a battery, though, which will buy it more time. 2 batteries. The Corruptors are quite slow at killing that. There's no attack upgrades on them either, so no attack upgrades on the Broodlords. But here comes Eris once again. Hydras and Broodlords at the front door. Negativezero could be getting choked up a little bit on its own wall. This 5th base location is a valid target. And if Eris can kill that, that will at least improve its situation in this game, even if it can't kill the Protoss, and I think it will get that base. Negativezero is probably going to be eyeing up another expansion as soon as this one dies, if I had to guess. But still, really nice pick-off by Eris. The Broodlords are sieging away. There's presently 3 of them in the mix, Infestors and Vipers underneath them as well, playing that Deathball Zerg style, and I think Negativezero's door is really working against it here. Great abducts on Immortals, on Oracles. These are good pickoffs for the Zerg, but the supply of Negativezero keeps going up. It's not going down. The production of the Protoss is phenomenal here. There's 2 Broodlords sieging away. Nice fungal in the wall, which is really hurting. But then there's Stalker Assassins from behind. Get underneath 2 of the Broodlords. Those are dead. And the Zerg's presence on the front all of a sudden crumbles. Now Eris is trying to reinforce this here, but it lost those key spellcasters. There's a random Broodlord doing its thing. It may be able to get some value by harassing and distracting Negativezero, but Negativezero seems to be breaking out. It's at 170 supply. A good fungal growth goes down, and if this Broodlord can harass by abusing the dead space, that would be really nice for Eris. But Negativezero's got, oh gosh, how many Colossi? 4 Colossi. That is a Zerg melting army if I've ever seen it. The Protoss is stepping onto creep. Eris is maxed out still, but where's its army? It's got roaches and vipers running around. Negativezero is going to try and engage this army. Broodlords are sieging away. The Protoss, though, has been replacing units faster than it's losing them, so it's up to 190 supply, and that's a scary fight for the Zerg to take. An abduct goes down. 1 Colossi will get picked off. It's incredibly expensive for Eris, though. Its production tab is lighting up, replacing these units it's losing. Negativezero is rebuilding this 5th base as well, which is very significant. Fungal goes down, trying to save some of these Broodlords, which are picking off a decent number of Stalkers and staying alive, very notably. If Negativezero can get up this 5th base, this game is going to be really up in the air, as it is starting to mine out at these other locations. Eris is trying to pick it off. It could be an overcommitment here. This is not the entire Zerg force here, as, yeah, it's such a risky move to charge forward like this. Corruptors are picking off Oracles, removing that detection, but Negativezero's Stalker Ball is huge right now. 25 Stalkers in the mix. The Corruptors are getting punished as they fly after the Colossi. And, oh my gosh, Negativezero's army control is just so darn good. Its composition is so darn good. Broodlords getting deleted. 20 roaches are on the way for Eris, but that means the supply is very misleading right now, because that is 20 supply that's not here, not fighting. There's no counterattacks by the Zerg when I really think there needs to be at this point in the game. As Negativezero, if it can just attack, it will micro Eris to death. And let's see, roaches coming on in, trying to reinforce, but none of the Zerg units are really good in this situation, it seems. The roaches get deleted by the Immortals. The Hydras die. I mean, the Broodlords are getting assassinated. Nice Blinding Cloud goes down, but again, Eris has so much supply caught up in its production that somehow Negativezero has turned this game around. Incredibly close match once again, but that requirement holds true for Negativezero to hit above the 160 supply mark, and then things really pivot. And I'm quite concerned here for Eris. It's going to need a really good move, seeing as how the Protoss is securing a 6th base while this is going on. It doesn't miss a beat, as we do have Spores, Infestors, and Broodlords for Eris trying to hold the line. Fungals can really lock this Protoss army down. There's Fungals going down, and another one connects, so Eris really is good with these spellcasters. More Broodlings being tossed on out. Negativezero, it's on the retreat, but all of a sudden that can switch, and it does. Blinding Cloud tries to save the Broodlords, but one of them goes down. We're getting Fungals too. more Broodlords being created right on the front to reinforce this. Eris is desperately trying to hold on as Broodlords go to work on this Protoss force, but as soon as Negativezero sees an opportunity, it takes it. The logic here is just so darn good as far as when it needs to fight. Meanwhile, of course, Negativezero hitting multiple locations at once, and it is looking very good for the Protoss now as the Zerg's economy is falling, and it's the domino effect big time. The Broodlords may be able to hold the stalemate for a little bit, but that is just not good for Eris as it's crumbling. As somehow a Protoss is able to dismantle a Zerg that's got what is in pro StarCraft considered a very difficult army to break with ground units. But Negativezero is able to do it by constantly poking and prodding. The Broodlords are slow. They cannot save this. Stalkers try and commit on in there, but they get punished a little bit. But it doesn't matter at this point because Eris's economy is ruined. And yeah, Negativezero is going to take this 3-0. If you look at the results, it's incredibly like one-sided, but these games have not been one-sided. It's an incredible showing by Eris. A few things go differently. I think Eris can absolutely take some of the maps, if not the series, and that's the beauty of this. Negativezero, it wins most of the games, but these two top bots are very good opponents for each other. And that is going to be it. That is also going to be the end of our live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this match, click that like button. If you're watching the VOD, leave a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, consider becoming a YouTube member. I think that's where we'll call it. Oh yeah, I was going to pull up the ladder rankings. Yeah, these matches are fresh matches. Like, I literally requested these. So, GG. That is the victory for Negativezero. We'll go ahead and pull up the ladder real quick now. Want to make sure we're pulling up the right screen here. Okay, there it is. We want it full screen though. Nope. Apologies while I fiddle with this. Bonus content. Yeah, we're just taking a look at the ladder rankings. Here, we'll just do this. So, as far as the ladder right now goes, we'll pull up the whole thing because top 16 is in hot debate. We've got some duplicates from Team Eris, but other than that, I think it's just these are all independent authors. I guess there's Zozo and Roro. And so I believe someone said the cutoff was at Sharkbot presently, which is there at spot 21. We've got Zeratol's Revenge climbing high on the ladder, which would be an impressive debut into pro bots. A very cheesy bot. We'll definitely cast more of that in the future. However, cheesy bots, like and aggressive bots, they tend to be countered. Veteran won't go, right? I don't know. It's active on the ladder, so there's a chance. We don't want to say no. Like, yeah. I mean, we can count. Negativezero, Eris, Skip Really, Benbot, Micro Machine 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, Did I accidentally double count one? Because my count says... No, I must be off by one. Changeling really... Those are the two duplicates, right? So... Yeah, I think we're looking at Dominion Dog as the final bot, I want to say. It won't as part of the house bots. Okay. Okay, so if no veteran, then yeah, it's ALS and Sharkbot. Wicked Bot is another bot that would be exciting if it made it in there, but it's got a long ways to climb. Yeah, I think... It's exciting that we'll have Antibot, particularly if Antibot gets updated. I'm not sure when it was last updated. LaughNgamez, again, would be a very... Actually, it was updated recently, so it has been worked on. It was inactive for a while. Yeah, the div 1/2 swap is definitely a bit awkward. Tier not making it, yeah. Lots of spots being taken up by relatively simple bots that are doing very well, but we're lucky that there's so many... We're lucky that there's so many good bots out there. Here, let me put this up there. That's better. Yeah, like... If we go down the list of the bots, we can see, like... Developed bot, highly developed bot, highly developed bot, highly developed bot, highly developed cheesy bot, highly developed cheesy bot. House bot, so not going to be in there, I guess, as you guys say. Sharpened edge, highly developed bot. GPT, I guess, falls into the cheesy-ish fashion, but as far as cheesy bots go, quite developed. But then we get Zeratul's Revenge, new very cheesy bot. Small Bly, newer cheesy bot. I'll put LaughNgamez into the newer cheesy bot category. Very effective, but like fairly straightforward, right? So we do have cases of highly effective ladder bots that, if I had to guess, won't do too well in the tournaments if anyone puts in any amount of effort to snipe them, right? Like, to beat Small Bly, I don't think I've ever even cast it because it's literally just a Zerg bot, rush bot. And it's actually a much older bot than I thought. But who cast this thing? Small Bly? I actually want to see. Oh, I actually cast Small Bly. Okay, right. But there's a very cool. I mean, is GPT cheesy? That's why I was hesitant. Yeah, so it's just interesting, the contrast between the two types of bots out there. As yeah, it will be sad if sort of the up and coming bots like Wicked Bot don't make it, if Tier doesn't make it. Tier has been updated a little bit, but it's still got some little holes in it, I think. But again, I haven't cast it in a couple weeks, so who knows what's been done with it. Soyman, up and coming bot. So either way, it's going to be a phenomenal season. Yeah, rush bots can't survive if the game drags into macro, right? Exactly. So with these bots, it's like they either win or they don't. And that's very simple logic, but it's like even with, for example, Tom's bot, GPT. Very good bot, but if the game goes past 10 minutes, you know that things have gone very poorly for it. Opposing bot authors usually can just look at that and say, all right, defend, pick a defensive build, that kind of thing. Or I guess you could go the polar opposite, because we know that Zeratul's Revenge is just going to be cheesing like Zozo. And who knows, maybe it could even take down Zozo as we saw in a recent video. It's all up in the air. That's the beauty of ProBots and the tournaments. Maybe in the lead up to that, I will keep doing these live streams where I try and do a couple of... Yeah, that's all I mean by it, Tom. Yeah, it's going to be a great series. I'll do some more weekend casts if I can. It's a nice little way for me to take a break, touch bases with you guys and that kind of thing. Learn some things too. And yeah, thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. It's been a bit of a longer stream. I think I've done enough plugs and stuff, but I'll see you guys next time. Zeratul is a bit too effective, but again, it's like Zeratul. If it makes too big of a name for itself cheesing on the ladder, it's like, really? Bot authors will put in a lot more effort to counter that. So I could ramble about this all day, as you guys know by watching my casts, but I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.